Hi, everybody. My name is Roxana Stingu. I am head of Search and SEO at Alamy currently, and I've been in SEO for 15 years. I started in a bit of a weird way. A lot of people just kind of fall into SEO. My first actual job was SEO related. I was in university when a friend kind of approached me and said, "How would you like a very well paid job? You work from home, and all you need to know is your way around the internet and searching stuff, and just to have very good written English." And I thought, yeah, that sounds really good. Of course, I want that. And it turned out it was a link builder job, but keep in mind, this was 15 years ago. So everybody was doing this. It was normal. And I was back in Romania and I was working for this US agency as their link builder. And all I had to do was read stuff online nonstop on all these different topics, join the discussions that people were having, and then at some point drop a link in one of the comments, but try to make it as natural as possible. So that meant I actually had to engage with the conversation. And I learned so much from like uh, tractors, because we had this one client, up to even SEO, because we had clients who were selling SEO services. So it was very interesting starting this way, but it also meant it was during US hours and I was on the other side of the globe. So I was working mostly nights. And I got to a point after about 3 years, I just wanted a desk job, 9 to 5. Like I wanted to sleep through the night. And I remember I applied to the only job that was available at that point in my town. And when I got there, I found out two other link builders from my from the team that this company had in Romania. They also applied for the same job, so we kind of reunited the band, but with a 9 to 5 job. And that's how I started my career in SEO for a hosting company called WebFusion, and I've been with them for the better part of 10 years. And this company kept growing, it kept being acquired. So it was initially a British company, then it was bought by Host Europe Group. So I got to work with the Germans quite a bit. And then finally it was acquired by GoDaddy. So I got to work with the US again. So that was quite nice. Yeah, after 10 years of doing this and everybody knew me and what I was able to do, it just got very comfortable. And I thought, what's the one thing I know nothing about? And it turned out to be image search. So yeah, I went for the job that was asking for things I've never done, and I thought that would have been a test interview for me, just just to see how it goes, because I haven't interviewed in 10 years, and it turned out it was so interesting. I wanted the job, and they wanted me. So here I am at Alamy after 3 years. I do whatever is needed, I guess. But SEO is the biggest part of my day. But also, as I said, I'm head of search and SEO, which means I'm also heading our internal search engine. And that's something I've only started looking at since last summer. So I'm fairly new to it. I've been talking to people who have been in the search engine industry for 15 years. So I'm very young at it. But when it comes to SEO, anything that's needed, that's what we jump on. Although I specialize as a technical SEO, I think my years of experience allow me to learn about anything in any area of SEO by now. And if it's something I don't know, there are all these communities and the Twitter SEO people. There's always somebody you can reach out and say, hey, I haven't done local SEO in 10 years, I'm rusty. What do I need to catch up on this? And you get articles or trainings or whatever you might need, or you just ask, can you still do this? Is this still something people do? And they're going to tell you yes or no. So yeah, I guess that's what I do every day. Anything that's needed. Now specifically, we're trying to re-platform our entire website. We're going from our legacy 20-year-old platform to trying to use new JavaScript-based stacks. So this is taking quite a lot of time because I don't know if I mentioned this, but the website I work with is massive. We have 291 million products to date, and it keeps growing by around 150,000 every day. And even though moving a website is about templates and all of those products represent one template, it's still a lot of work and a lot of changes to do. We still need to allow Google time to process all these changes. And we want to make sure from an SEO point of view, we maintain our performance or even improve it where we can. So I think that that's what I'm doing mostly nowadays. We have this big plan of developing the business in the next 3 years. So I think my main goal from an SEO, but also internal search engine point of view, is to ensure we support that plan and we do everything we can to get the whole business there. One of the things I do like about working at Alamy specifically is the fact that SEO is ingrained into the business process. We have all these different business pods where we get people from all departments talking about specific business plans, and SEO is always part of those pods. So I think that's that's the goal, to get the company to reach its objectives, also through SEO and also through our internal search engine. It is image search specifically because it's very interesting, but it lacks the information you get that you get with web search normally. You get all these websites and articles and experiments and people talking about it, but with image search, you have a handful of people. I could probably name half of them that actually are interested in image search, and they constantly experiment to see how image search works because it's not as documented as web search. We also lack a lot of data. You get image search and Search Console, but other than that, you don't really get any other information related to this type of search. Bing doesn't have it in their webmaster tools. A lot of SEO tools don't include it, like all the visibility tools. They just don't focus on image search ever. So all we can get is Search Console data and maybe some ranking data, because some of the tools do allow Google image search as one of the search engines for rankings. But yeah, this would be my main interest. And a lot of things come into this because images also involve the information the actual image can provide. So then I have a very big interest in using artificial intelligence to read what's going on inside an image. What kind of information can we get that we don't already have? So using computer vision to name all the objects in the image, or to create better alt text for the images. And there's so many possibilities. It is the biggest challenge, and mostly because this is a website I'll never get to fully crawl, nor do I need to in most cases. But sometimes it's good to be able to see how, if you're working on internal linking, you want to see how everything connects. This is something I'll never be able to do because of the size of it. It also comes with different costs. So for instance, as I mentioned before, I want to use computer vision to get extra information from the images we have. But if I were to use Google's service, for instance, for our entire collection, it would be so expensive. Nobody would be able to afford it. So it's limitations like that. So budgets need to be bigger when it comes to a website this big. But there's always workarounds and different projects we can try that are cheaper or have no cost. So I think that's what I'm focusing on now, trying everything else until I actually need to get to that big budget. When I joined Alamy in my first 6 months, I was working closely with the business owner who is a physicist, a man of science, and a very, very smart man in general. And he was very interested in improving internal linking. And he wanted us to work together in coming up with a way of doing this for this massive website. At that point, the website was about 150 million pages. And we spent 6 months designing a new internal linking model on paper, because we didn't just want to surface new links that maybe normally would not be surfaced. We also wanted to respect the quality of the links and make sure what we are surfacing is still highly relevant to the user. So it took us 6 months on paper to do this, and to kind of work through different ways of doing it and trying to do calculations, running it on small scale just to see how it changes. And then after 6 months, we finally implemented it on one of our websites. And because of the size, we usually wait about 3 months to make sure Google has had enough time to see all the changes. So here I am, 3 months pass, nothing happens. And by nothing, I mean traffic is as flat as it can be. It's not going anywhere. So we're thinking maybe we need to wait more. Maybe we need to wait for a core update to happen. Let's give it some time. So we wait 6 months. We go through 2 different core updates, and nothing to suggest this massive internal linking change we did had any effect whatsoever. I think we left it on 6 months after that, just to be sure, because we couldn't believe it. So much work. The changes were humongous, yet traffic didn't go anywhere. At this point, I was thinking, even if it goes down, it's something I'm happy to see, because I just want to see something happening from all this work. So we ended up just taking it out, and again, no change after we took it out. It's as if it never existed. And to the day, I asked myself, how can such major changes have absolutely no impact? But then I guess that's why I'm still doing SEO, because we still have these big questions to answer. I like that question. First of all, I automate any daily processes, reporting and stuff like that, because I'm lazy, but in a constructive way. So if I can avoid doing the type of work I don't like, and that's usually repetitive work, I find a way to automate it, so then I never have to do it again. But I think automation helps SEOs gain time, and that time could be used for analysis. So instead of spending 3 hours building a report, you can spend half an hour analyzing it after it was automatically built. So you can use that time in a better way, where you can gain more insights, you can learn more about things. It gives you more time to go into deeper analysis. So I know, for instance, for some agency folk, they might find interesting stuff, but they don't have time to actually go investigate it. So this might be a way where they can gain that time back and use it in a different way. It's also good when you work with super large websites, because you pass the point where you can do anything manually. You need to automate most processes. To give you an example, we're looking at using machine learning to identify things in images that normally we would use real people to do so. But you just can't keep up the pace with all the images coming in. So, machine learning is a way that can automate QAing the quality of the products coming in, as an example. When it comes to SEO, we're looking at, how can we use machine learning to create a knowledge graph that can then help us kind of get all this different information. If we were to get that data manually, it would be impossible, because the sheer size of the website. So everything kind of falls into this automation, where we allow artificial intelligence to learn and come up with the insights, when human intelligence is not enough, not because we can't, but because we need too many humans to be able to do it in the same amount of time. Well, personally, anything with Data Studio. So anything I can pull into Data Studio and then have it scheduled, it's perfect. I have a lot of data coming from different sources. I'd need to copy paste it into a sheet and then pull that sheet in Data Studio. And actually, quite recently, I've had one of my team members automate a report for me. I'm getting stats on how many images I put in sitemaps and how many I delete from sitemaps. And that comes in an email as a table. of just information. So I've had someone in my team automate that table being copied into Google Sheets, and then that Google Sheet is connected to Data Studio, where I've created a beautiful report showing me some graphs with ups and downs, and then that's scheduled to come in my inbox every week, so I can keep track on, you know, deletions and additions to our sitemap. But if I had to do this manually, it would be it would be a daily copy paste in that sheet that, I don't know, let's say it takes a minute. So a lot of people would think, why even bother investing so much time in this? But if you add up that minute of, you know, daily interaction with this information, and you add it up throughout the years I've been here, it actually adds up to quite some time. And while automating this, my team member also learned a lot about app scripts and using Power Automate and other things that he hasn't worked with before. So, you know, win-win. I don't have to do repetitive work anymore, and he's learned how to automate other stuff in the future as well. So that would be an example that happened quite recently. That's always a big one, because there's a lot of stuff I go through, and I think I wish I knew this earlier. But if I have to think of one thing, I think the biggest one is the need for community. For the better part of my career, I've been on my own, learning by myself, not really being able to reach out to all the industry experts to ask them anything. And I think in the past few years, as I joined more SEO communities, and especially the Women in Tech SEO community, I learned what it means to have this kind of community around you. It's not just information. It's not just for learning. It's also uplifting, and it helps boost confidence. For the longest time, I thought, you know, what I'm doing is not great, just to find out I was above norm. But I had no way of comparing my work with other people to boost my confidence and continue doing the work I was doing. And I think community is a way of fixing that, and helping people who are new at SEO gain that confidence faster, and also have like a fallback, people to go to when they get stuck. So instead of giving up because things don't work, they can go to people who can offer mentorship and training, or just an encouragement, you know, just saying you can do this. Yes, learn all the time. Find your community and learn. It can be daunting. I have people who are beginners who say, where do I start? How do I get to know what you know? And the answer is 15 years. You don't learn overnight. It takes a long time. I'm sure I could have learned way more in this time than I did, but I wouldn't be able to understand the things I understand if I didn't take all this time to learn them. So have patience. Right? If you're just starting, I know it's a lot of information. Have patience, do what you like, because you learn faster and better from stuff you like than from stuff you don't. And find your community, because that will help you a lot to learn as well. I do enjoy it after it's done. Right before it's done, I'm a pack of nerves. I'm wondering, why did I accept doing this? Why do I keep doing this to myself? But right after I'm done, and I see there's a moment when I'm presenting where I kind of fix on some of the people in the audience, and I can almost see their light bulb going up. And that's the moment that I live for. That's why I keep doing this. I don't know, I do it because I want to see people learn, and I'm happy when they learn. There's a lot of new information at these conferences, and you probably know how it goes. It's different tracks. You got like 5 people talking at the same time, so you're always going to miss some good stuff. One talk for sure that's on my list to watch as soon as they release the recordings is actually your very own Rebecca's talk that she did together with Korai. So I've read the reviews and the tweets on that, and I've also seen the slides already, and I know it's been wonderful. And I'm a bit happy I missed it, because I would have had to focus on the information in the 20 minutes the talk took. But now I can listen to it at my own pace. I can stop it. I can do some search, searches related to the talk. So it might actually be better for me that I'm going to listen to it at my own pace. There were a lot of brilliant women besides Rebecca that had very good talks. We had Lazarina Soy, who talks about machine learning. So it's always super interesting to me to listen to her. And then we had a lot of new names, and unfortunately I can't think of them, but there were some new men I've never seen before at conferences. So I'm happy to see new speakers talking about how to use regex and formulas in Google Sheets, and kind of how to get insights from your data, not just get the data and that's it. So that was interesting as well. We do all this work because we're trying to get somewhere. We're trying to get results, and anybody who's been following Alamy through all the public tools, because I can't talk about private data, but I can talk about the public one. It's easy to see we've had quite massive growth in the past years. To give you an example, if you use SEMrush's organic visibility tool. When I joined in January 2019, we were at 3.5 million on their scale. And as of now, we're at 27 million. So trying to do fast math here, but that's a 671% increase. Yeah, I calculated that before. I need to admit that. But it's, all this growth it is not just SEO. And I think that's something that younger SEOs need to understand. You can't achieve this unless you work with everybody in your company. This is the result of us working like very close with developers and product. This is us working with the business, getting the business buy-in for our project, getting the business's expertise on things we didn't know quite well. So this kind of SEO success is actually a business success, where the SEO team is just kind of the one driving it, maybe.